Live from the sewers, this is the Turtle Power Podcast.
This is your audio source for all the news, reviews, and insight into the world of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
God, I love being a turtle!
Now join your hosts, Ryan, Alex,
Awesome!
and Darby.
Bossa Nova!
Yeah? Bossa Nova?
Chevy Nova? Excellent!
Now it's time for the Turtle Power Podcast.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to a whole new episode of the Turtle Power Podcast. This is Ryan. I am riding solo this evening, but it's okay because I am in a pretty awesome place here. I am at the Nickelodeon Resort here in Orlando, Florida, for the big Retro Turtles weekend deal that we got here. Let's just put it this way. The original cast of the original TMNT animated series is here, and I'm going to get to meet them tomorrow. I mean, how awesome is that? So look forward to all of the interviews and content from tomorrow in our next episode. But don't feel left behind, because in this episode we have a very special interview. We have the author of the brand new upcoming Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Ultimate Visual History, Mr. Andrew Farago. And he and I sat down for about a half an hour, and we got deep on the Turtles. I mean, this guy, what an awesome opportunity that he had with this project. So, you know what? Let's waste no time, and let's get into that interview right now. All right, so today we have with us a very special guest. He is the curator of the Cartoon Art Museum in San Francisco and the author of the Looney Tunes Treasury. He's also written for Marvel Comics, the Comics Journal, Animation World Network. But we have him on here on the Turtle Power Podcast because he is the the author, well, maybe a little bit of both, of the upcoming book, The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Ultimate Visual History. We are pleased to have Andrew Farago. Is that, I said that right?
You nailed it.
Look at that.
Great start.
On to the Turtle Power Podcast. Welcome.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, our pleasure. Our pleasure. Now I reached out to you. It was a while ago when I first saw the listing pop up on Amazon, and reached out to you on Twitter, and I was like, hey, this looks like an amazing project. Be interested in coming on the show someday and talking about it. And graciously responded and said that you'd love to be on. So it's been a long time coming, and I'm glad that we could make this happen. So definitely very excited for this book. It's since the press release at the beginning of this month that was on the 30th anniversary of the Turtles on May 5th. We got to see a lot more details as to what we can expect. This is so for all of our listeners out there. This book, it's how many pages is it here?
pushing 200. I think it's 192, and that's not counting things like you get a complete reprint of the first issue from 1984, shot directly from the original art. So I don't think that even counts toward the page count.
So, and it's interesting that you guys did that because for long term fans like myself and my co-hosts and you as well, that we know about the history of the Turtles as far as it originating from a comic book, but it actually for the 30th, the Nickelodeon Twitter sent out a tweet to to all the kids out there saying, hey, did you know that the Turtles started off as a comic book? And to us that seemed almost kind of silly that you have to say that, but I guess it needs to be said. So this is an opportunity for those kids to be able to really see where the Turtles came from.
Yeah, I found that out when I was at the Emerald City Comic Con in Seattle, and that's kind of the start of the whole rollout. I signed posters all weekend long at that convention, and we did a panel with Stan Sakai, who's
fantastic,
with the Turtles, and Michael Dooney, who has an even longer with them. And I asked the audience, like, how many of you know that this was a comic book first? And about half of them did, and about half of them that was brand new. But there have been a lot of comics. There have been a lot of cartoons, a lot of movies, a lot of toys. So there are plenty of ways for people to be introduced to them outside of the comic books.
So this project, I definitely feel is really going to not only help those younger listeners, but it's really going to help us longtime fans as well, because a project like this has not really been done before, especially not to this caliber. This is something that, as a Turtles fan, I've been waiting for a long time. So just from a personal standpoint, I really appreciate you doing this. So if you could just quickly talk about how this project come along your way.
Okay. Yeah, you mentioned editors at the beginning, and so I'll give a shout out to my editor, Chris Prince, and he works for Insight Editions, and he called me up about 2.5 years ago and said, I've got a project. We just got the license for it, and I want to know if you'd be interested in writing a book on the complete history of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And he had several writers pitched for it, because obviously everybody wants to work on a project like this. But I guess I must have I must have impressed him with my pitch, and basically I told him I wanted to start with Eastman and Laird and go from there, and that's what I spent the last 2+ years working on.
Well, and that's so amazing, because that's actually what I wanted to get into, because this book brings us the first real deep dive into the multiverse of the Turtles, covering all the different incarnations. So I don't want to spoil the amazing content that our listeners will be able to find in this book. As we all know, there are so many different incarnations of the TMNT. I was hoping to really kind of focus on your experience with interviewing and researching all these different versions. So I mean, yeah, no better place to start than with Kevin and Peter.
Yeah, so obviously that's the first place I checked, was, can we get Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird involved, because they were there at the beginning and they're before the beginning. And I talked to them. They were very gracious with their time. Kevin, I had a really long, detailed phone interview with him. Peter, I traded emails with him for probably 6 months plus, and any time I had a question, he wrote back immediately with a really detailed answer. And so yeah, as most Turtles fans know, those guys started it all. They were in New England in the early 1980s, started a studio together, and one night they were just goofing around, drawing pictures of turtles with weapons and just cracking each other up, and then that's where it all began.
Absolutely. Yeah, magic was made.
And the comic was a huge success right away, thanks to they did some research. They went to their local library, and that's I always have to talk up your local libraries to listeners. So I know it's it's a $50 book, but if you ask your library to order it, you can check it out that way.
Oh, that's a really good point. Yeah.
Teen librarians are great, and those are people who, if you go to them, if you ask them, hey, can you order this? They're always excited to get anything that will get readers into the library. But that's a little aside there. But yeah, Kevin and Peter said, hey, we're going to put out this comic book. We need to get the word out. And so they checked out some books on media. They found how to write a press release, how to submit it to groups like the Associated Press. And the Associated Press picked up the article. They did a nice interview with them. And people across the country read about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles just before the big convention that they debuted the book at in 1984. And so people all around the country heard about it. They sent in orders. Comic shops across the country ordered it. So their first print run sold out immediately, and that was a huge relief to them because that was a big risk. They sunk their life savings into it. They borrowed money from Kevin's uncle.
Right.
And the first run of the first issue sold out immediately. They went back to press right away. That sold out immediately, and they realized, well, I think we have to do a second issue. And Kevin looked at the numbers, and his eyes bugged out because he realized, if we keep this up, we can be full-time comic book artists. We don't have to do advertising art. We could just be drawing the Turtles full-time. And it quickly got to be, especially once the licensing took off, and this all gets covered in the book. But once the licensing took off, they had to expand the studio because they just couldn't keep up with licensing and all the demands on their time and keep the book coming out on a regular basis. And that's where you get guys like Michael Dooney and Steve Levine and Ryan Brown and all the early Mirage Studios members.
Right. Yeah. And actually, that's a perfect segue for my next question was the licensing. I guess I guess it wasn't the first, but was one of the first. Was obviously the Playmates action figure lines. The impact that those toys made on children and adults alike back in the mid '80s is something that it just took off. So I know you've got to spend a little bit of time with the Playmates folks researching for this book, right?
Yes, yeah, and that was they were there. They were, and they continue to be incredibly helpful with all of this. That all starts with a guy named Mark Friedman, and after Eastman and Laird, he's one of the most important names in Turtles history. But he'd been working in licensing for a while, wanted to branch out on his own, start his own licensing company, which he called Surge, and I think he can't quite remember, but he's pretty sure they were his very first client. Mark went to comic shops. He went to role-playing game shops in New York City. Found, asked around, like, what are the kids into? What's something interesting that nobody has picked up yet? And a company called Palladium had done some role-playing game books about the Turtles.
Yep.
And actually, it was a toss-up for him between those and another property called Car Wars, which was a role-playing game. We could be getting ready for the big Michael Bay Car Wars movie this summer. But Turtles caught his eye. He tracked down Kevin and Peter. He made a pitch to them. He said, give me a month to see what kind of deals I can work out. And that led to him talking to Playmates. Playmates hadn't done action figures before the Turtles. And now those names are synonymous. But Playmates really focused on toys for really little kids. They focused on dolls. They focused on like little Fisher Price type play kits. But they really hadn't done action figures yet. And Mark took Kevin and Peter to California. They talked to Playmates. They told them this is a really this is a $1 million idea, at the very least.
Only 1 million. Only 1 million.
And yeah, that really, the company exploded at that point. The Turtles, they just couldn't make them fast enough. 1988, when they hit shelves, they just sold out everywhere, and it's been a huge deal for everybody.
And that concept of you swing your pickaxe the first time and you hit gold, it's that doesn't happen. But it did with this franchise. I mean, it just took off there. So let's see. Then so you got your licensing down, you've got the comics going, and then we get into the animated series, which kind of led from both of those. And I know you got a chance to talk with David Wise, right?
Yes, and it kind of I see it almost like a snowflake or a spider web, where you've got the center and it just branches out.
Sure.
Because I tried to keep the book as chronological as possible and stick to various themes, but so much was happening all at once. Mark Friedman went to Playmates. Playmates was thrilled with the idea. They really wanted to do the toy line, but they said the toys are probably going to sell a lot better if we have a cartoon. And they talked to a lot of different studios. A lot of studios passed on it, and they're probably kicking themselves.
Oh, yeah.
But eventually they talked to Fred Wolf of Murakami Wolf Swenson, now of Fred Wolf Studios. And they talked to Fred. Fred said, I think we can make this work. Fred, prior to the Turtles, had worked on DuckTales.
There you go.
And that really made him the perfect guy for this, because overseeing DuckTales, which was, three lead characters who looked exactly the same, but you because of their coloring, because of the outfits.
Yeah.
There's some similarities there, and they said, can you do a story like this with these 4 identical characters?
And an incredibly catchy theme song as well.
Yes, exactly. And and you mentioned David Wise. David Wise was he was responsible for a lot of what we know about the Turtles today. If you think about them, eating pizza, yelling "cowabunga."
Aspects that we just are synonymous, that are with the Turtles. Those things weren't necessarily always created by Kevin and Peter. I mean, they were. I mean, the Turtles, even though they started off with the two, they gave the ability for other creators to really add in their thoughts and their expressions for the Turtles, and a lot of those really became total, just if you were to try to just describe the Turtles in 10 words, those like pizza and cowabunga and those certain aspects that
April O'Neil as the news reporter,
right? Yeah. Most people would definitely, most people I think would definitely say that April is a news reporter, not a scientist or anything like that. So that's definitely true.
Yeah, Splinter being a mutated Hamato Yoshi instead of his pet rat. So lots of little changes that David Wise made, and he took the personalities that Kevin and Peter created, and then he amped them up to the point that Donatello was the nerdy Woody Allen inventor type, and Leonard is the bold leader type, and it's all there it's all spelled out in the theme song too.
Absolutely. So we go from the animated series. It had a long run. Meanwhile, the Mirage comics are still coming out, Volume 1, Volume 2, and then the Turtles franchise kind of took a, I don't know, what would you say, like a hiccup?
That's a polite term for it. Yeah.
There you go. It hit the, I think every big franchise gone through that. The Star Wars franchise went through that as well, and went through the dark times, as they call it. So the mid '90s to end, even all the way to like 2000 was it was kind of a rough time. We had the I'm laughing because one of our
You're gonna say her name.
one of our co-hosts refused to acknowledge the existence of Venus de Milo. So, we had the Image, Volume 3, where that really kind of took a sharp turn. There was some rough patches there. Did you get into any of that with Peter, or?
Oh yeah, I talked to I talked to Peter. I talked to some people who worked on the infamous Next Mutation TV show.
Oh, he said I didn't say it. He said it.
I talked to Eric Larson and Frank Fosco and Gary Carlson, who worked on the Image series. But yeah, a lot of things happened. You can't stay on top forever. The Turtles actually, oddly enough, I think the Power Rangers was the thing that really came in, and the kids who would have gotten into the Turtles really got into the Power Rangers.
No, absolutely.
And the Next Mutation, also made by Saban.
Yep.
Looked like a cheap version of the Power Rangers instead of looking like the thing that really paved the way for that to become a big thing over here. And so a lot of things like that happened. The cartoon was kind of running out of steam, and they tried a few things to change it. They got rid of the Shredder.
Yep.
They brought in new sidekicks, and these things didn't quite work. Toy sales were going down. The comic book industry was veering toward darker material.
Absolutely.
And if you read the Image series, it's currently out of print, but I'm pretty sure IDW is who has the current Turtles comics license. I'm pretty sure they're going to get around to reprinting it sooner rather than later.
Yeah, we had Bobby Cornell on the show. That was only probably a month ago or 2 months ago, and we got into talking about all the reprinting. And that's so awesome that they're doing that too. I actually just got the Classics Volume 8 and Tales Volume 4, which they're actually into, Mirage Volume 2 and Tales of the TMNT Volume 2 now as well. So yeah, they're getting there for sure. So
they've got the plan.
Yep.
So things took a downturn. Kids got interested in other things, and like you said, it was kind of the maybe the dark ages. That's a good term for it.
Yeah. So, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, what really brought back the series was the 2003 animated show. Would you agree?
Definitely. And Peter Laird was incredibly active in that. He oversaw the whole thing.
Yep.
With 4 kids, and Peter's direct involvement in it really pushed it ahead. That made it that made it a lot better than we probably would have expected at that point.
It was it's amazing too how he on his blog has been, over the years he's released a lot of his notes and stuff for when they were producing that show, and it's really interesting to see the creative process going through with that series, because it was, I mean, that's a favorite here of mine and my my co-host. I mean, that's what got us back into it. I was in college in 2003, and I mean that show, it's amazing too, because I know it was on 4 kids, but that didn't feel like a kids show. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, it was darker. It was, but not the unrelentingly dark tone of like the Image comic.
Right.
This was just especially compared to the '80s series, it was darker, a little more mature. But you'd had shows like Batman the Animated Series since then,
Exactly.
which proved that you could do a dark tone but still be very accessible, very cool and fun for all ages. And they had a lot of great people on the show, like Chuck Patton and Lloyd Goldfine, and tons and tons of really great talent and designers working on the show. People who this was one of the first series where they really said, like, we've got all this great history to draw from already. Let's take some of the best pieces from it, and
of course it all finished off with Turtles Forever, which
one of my absolute favorite Turtles projects ever.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a love letter to the franchise and to the fans. Absolutely is. We always tell everybody, if they're coming back to Turtles, or if they just haven't seen that is a must see for any Turtle fan, is that movie. So I still think that it needs to come out on Blu-ray and everything, but because the only version that's come out is a DVD version. It's an edited version. It's not even the full version. So, we didn't even talk about any of the movies at all. Did you get involved with getting to talk with any of the? I know you got Vanilla Ice on board.
Right, as mentioned in the press release. But yeah, I talked to. I could have used another 2 or 3 years to track down everybody who was involved, but I got some really key interviews. I talked to, one of my favorite interviews while working on the book was with Brian Henson.
Oh, that's awesome.
The Henson Creature Shop was responsible for, the really state-of-the-art technology that went into the turtle costumes in the first movie. And that's as good as it gets, talking puppeteering with somebody from the Henson family. And Brian sounds just like his dad. And for those of us who, as long as the Turtles have been part of my life, the Muppets and Sesame Street goes back almost to the beginning.
No doubt. Did you catch his reality show that he just had on, the Creature Shop Challenge, I think it was called?
I haven't seen it yet, but I'm
Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm trying to recall. I'm not sure if they actually had any, because they would bring out like old Muppets and old puppets and everything, and old creatures from past movies and stuff like that. But I'm not sure if they brought any turtles. They probably all disintegrated by now, but
quite possible.
Yeah.
But I talked
it's good.
Brian,
so.
I talked to Ernie Reyes Jr., who was
fantastic. Yeah,
he was behind the Donatello costume in the first movie, but of course he had a major on-screen role in the second.
Kino. Yeah.
And I talked to a few of the guys who were behind the Turtles, like Michelin Sisti, and a few. I'd say a few others whose names are escaping me, but lots of people who worked on the movies and had a great time doing it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I see. It's that kind of detail where those movies didn't have behind the scenes special features being shot during them. So your book is going to be the outlet for that. To get those kinds of stories of behind the scenes of what it was like. They're shooting all. So I assume you got into TMNT as well, right?
Right.
There you go. And we say all 5 movies because we consider Turtles Forever to be the 5th. So
yeah. So we've got a lot of great photos from the Henson workshop of the turtle costumes being built, and Kevin Monroe, who was the brains behind the TMNT movie, he was very generous with his time. He had a lot of stories about it. They were really happy with how the movie turned out, and I think a lot of fans were too. Peter Laird was a huge fan of it, and that is one of the that is one of the things they're sad about with how the the Nickelodeon didn't want to go further with that. Sale happened, but as we get a great standalone CGI Turtles movie.
Yeah. So I mean, we're trying to stay positive on this show, with all the negative feedback that's out there with our fans. We're trying to keep an open mind. I mean, we know Kevin's a big fan of it. He's been waving that flag, real high, telling us to be positive about it and just wait and see. So we are. And I know you did get a chance to talk a little bit about that in the book as well.
Right, and that's actually a very small portion of the book, because when we went to press, there really wasn't much that that the people making the current movie or upcoming movie, there wasn't much that they were willing to make public yet.
Sure.
We've got some of the first images from the movie, although now that the trailers are coming out, now that the Halloween costumes and the toys and the other photos have been leaked, so that's definitely the smallest section of the book. But I think, that's probably a whole other book if this franchise takes off. So
I know we have a link. We'll have a link in the show notes to not only the press release, but over at Comics Alliance, they were able to have a little preview of a couple of the pages, and even some of the stuff from the original animated series, some of the animated differences you can see, how they move and everything like that. That's just awesome to be able to see this stuff in print. So let's see. We got Nick Turtles. Were you able to get involved with Nick Turtles at all?
Oh yeah. I talked to Ciro Nieli, who's the executive producer of the show. I talked to a few other script writers, designers, animators. Another really fun interview was with Rob Paulson, who is Donatello. He's the voice of Raphael in the original cartoon. But I will mention something about Ciro. Is he's actually been a Turtles fan from the beginning. When he heard about the comic, probably from that first Associated Press article, he begged his mother, you got to take me to the comic shop. We got to get this. And he bought the first print of issue 1 off the rack.
Wow.
So anybody who watches the current cartoon and doesn't think that these guys are all hardcore, really dedicated fans,
Yeah, no, you can tell with him. I mean, you absolutely can. Like, you can tell there's a lot of heart that goes into these episodes, while still making them for Nickelodeon, a kid station. It's definitely has that focus on it, but that's what's great about good animation, is that it talks to not only young fans, but it talks to old fans. It talks to all ages, and that's what that Nick Turtles series is. So
I love the new cartoon, and my 5-year-old nephew loves it. And
there you go. There you go. No, that says it all right there.
Yeah. And Ciro, I see him he goes to every San Diego Comic-Con, and he's there as a fan. He's there buying Turtles art, getting those, just seeing what new toys and new stuff is out there. So he's a very dedicated fan. And there are a lot of dedicated fans. That's been the really fun thing about working on the book, is finding people like yourself who have podcasts, and people who've been running blogs for years, and people who, I found the Turtle message boards, like the Technodrome forum, and seeing just how passionate everybody is, and that's been really exciting for me.
Yeah, definitely. Shout out to all the the Technodrome forums users out there. We go to them for instant analysis of any Turtles news that comes out here. So, so I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but we do like to have all of our guests answer the Great Turtle Power Podcast questionnaire. So this is kind of like an inside the actor studio kind of thing. So So real quick, how did you become a fan of the TMNT?
All right, I'm pretty sure that I'd seen the name in, advertisements in comic books. I probably had seen ads for back issues and didn't really give it any thought. But then I saw the commercials back in 1987 saying, coming soon, this is going to be on television, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. My younger brother and I flipped out and we said, we've got to see this. We absolutely have to see this. And we watched the first, back in December 1987, the first syndicated airing of the miniseries.
Yep.
And we became instant fans. We watched it again when they reran it. We anxiously waited for them to announce an ongoing series. So that was huge for us. We collected the toys. We had T-shirts. Everything that we could talk our parents into getting us for Christmas and birthdays. So yeah, we fell pretty hard. And when I remembered those ads for back issues, I got my mom to take us to the flea market, and I tracked down as many of the Mirage back issues as I could find.
Nice.
So it's the second printing of issue number 4 with that great Michael Dooney cover.
Oh yeah,
one that they used for video games.
Yep.
They used for posters. The one they used for all kinds of advertising. That was my intro to them in the comics.
Fantastic. Favorite character, not necessarily a turtle, but favorite character overall.
Okay, it's got to be Donatello.
Donnie guy. Nice.
That's such a great personality, such a great personality test. Because I assumed, all my friends are comic book readers. They're probably all going to be big Donatello fans. And every time I get a group of us together, I find out that we're all across the board.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Like, I mean, I see a little bit of them. Now that I'm older, I see how all of them have influenced my life. But growing up, I was always a Raph, and I think now sometimes I feel like Raph's kind of the person I want to be inside or something like that. I don't know. So he's always my favorite. So.
I've got 3 brothers, and I've been thinking about this more and more, like how our personalities all match up. And it's like, yeah, my oldest brother is definitely Michelangelo, and yeah, goes from there.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Favorite incarnation of the TMNT?
Okay, this is it's. I'm gonna go with the very first, that first run by Eastman and Laird.
Yep.
But there's so much that's a close second. Like those first animated cartoons I watched, the first time I saw the movie Turtles, the current stuff from IDW and from Nickelodeon. That all bunches together for a close second. So I'll give Kevin and Peter the nod here.
There you go. It's a popular answer for sure. Okay, here's a good one. Our guests always get stumped with this one. So, most underappreciated aspect of the TMNT. So whether it's a certain incarnation or a certain, character, something with the Turtles. Just most underappreciated aspect.
Okay, yeah, we mentioned it earlier, and I think I think everybody needs to see Turtles Forever. Anybody who watched the 4 Kids series or the Murakami Wolf Swenson series before it, if you grew up with the Turtles in the 80s, if you if you're a fan of the 80s comic books, I think that's just such a great film, and that's where it all came together, and not enough people know about it.
Yep.
And I also, and I'll give a shout out to Zero and what he and his crew are doing in the current series, because I think he actually, I think this quote made it into the book, but he said there's almost like a great Turtles civil war between fans where everybody has their favorite, everybody disagrees, and he wants to be the guy that ends that and do this one perfect version that everybody loves. And I think the new series is coming really close to that.
And that's what he's doing so good, is that he's bringing in influences from all the different versions and into his Nick Turtles series, and you couldn't ask for anything more. You really couldn't.
No.
And then let's see. Normally we like to have a guest specific question as well. So for you, I'm going to ask, what was the one, I guess if you have like something when you were doing research for this book, what was something that really surprised you, like a surprising story that you heard while writing?
Oh, there were lots of them. One of my favorite ones actually was talking to Kevin Eastman about his influences, and some of them I knew, and some of them were new to me. When he mentioned that Jack Kirby was really the inspiration behind his whole art style, it suddenly clicked. Like I could see that right away.
Oh yeah.
And he and Peter Laird and yeah, just to make sure everybody knows who that is. Jack Kirby basically co-created most of the Marvel universe.
Yep.
So if you know, Captain America, he co-created with Joe Simon back in the 1940s. But most of the characters from the Avengers, he had a hand in. So characters like the Hulk and Iron Man and the Fantastic Four and the X-Men and on and on and on.
Yep.
But Eastman and Laird were fans, especially of Jack Kirby's 1970s output for DC Comics, and that's comics like Commandy and the New Gods and characters like that.
Oh, that's interesting.
And one of my favorite stories they told was when I asked them, you guys, all the stuff you saw and did, all the movie premieres, all the fun stuff that you did, what was your biggest rock star moment? What was the coolest thing you did? And I'm expecting like, oh, we went to, the Oscars, or we went to some pool party at the director's house. And they both said when we went to Comic-Con and we met Jack Kirby, that was
wow,
because they were doing it as peers, like as one, as comic creators just hanging out, and that was just such a cool thing for me, like knowing everything they said, everything they did, all the money, all the success, all the everything that happened. That was their favorite moment.
That's awesome. That's a great story. That's really cool. Andrew, where can people find this book?
Okay. Obviously, Amazon.com has everything in the world, so that's one place you can go. You can check out the Insight Editions website. I recommend, like I said earlier, go to your local library and ask if they will order it. If you can talk your local comic book store, if you have one, if you can talk them into ordering it, Amazon's great, but I'd prefer people buy from local bookstores whenever possible.
Awesome. And where can people get in touch with you?
All right. I am on Facebook. Look me up. I think my page is Andrew Farago Cartoons. I'm Andrew Farago on Twitter. You can follow most of what I'm doing through the Cartoon Art Museum's website, and that's cartoonart.org. And my own personal website is in the works, so I'll be sure to announce that to people on Twitter and to the Turtle Power Podcast as soon as I've got that up and running.
Fantastic. And if for all of our listeners, well, whether you're on the west coast of the U.S. or not, even if you have the means to get out there, you guys are hosting a TMNT art exhibit right now at the Cartoon Art Museum through September 14th, right?
Yes. So I will give a quick mention to that. One of the great things in working on a book like this is meeting all kinds of artists and collectors. And, through the course of this, I tracked down all the original art to the first issue of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from 1984. So we've got that and the original cover art on display. We've got some key early covers like the Donatello and Raphael one-shots. The Raphael one-shot, of course, introduced Casey Jones.
Yep.
World. We've got some great art from the 80s animated series. And I'm still adding to the show. Nickelodeon is going to send some artwork for the current animated series.
Oh, cool.
And Mark Bodie, who did some work for Mirage in the 90s, is actually going to be doing a mural for us coming soon.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And we're all gearing up for a big opening reception on June 14th.
Look at that. Well,
that's going to be open to the public, and that's also going to be the world premiere of the book. So you can get it there 10 days before stores. Yeah.
Nice. And you're going to be at Comic-Con as well, signing?
Yes, I'll be there Friday through Sunday. Most likely signing at the Inside Editions table, probably with Kevin Eastman, who has inked the cover of the comic.
The cover is awesome. The cover is so good. I think there was like a fill cover for a while on Amazon.
Yeah.
And this cover that you guys came up with here is fantastic. I mean, it just shows it right there. You got the 4 different incarnations of
we
all
wanted
the turtles.
To with that, so we had the placeholder cover for a while.
Yep.
But Ryan Brown, who is again one of the earliest members of Mirage Studios, I got him on board to pencil it. I did the initial sketch, and I said, we have to pay tribute to the first cover. We have to have 4 different turtles on it. I did a sketch. Ryan did a great penciled version of it. And then we said, well, let's talk Kevin Eastman into inking it. And Rhonda Pattison, who is doing amazing work on the IDW comics right now. She was our first choice for colorist, and we were happy that we got her.
That's awesome. Yeah, it looks great. I cannot wait to get a hold of this. If I have any means of getting out to the West Coast, I'm in Florida, so. But if I do get a chance to get out there, I will be sure to stop by the Cartoon Art Museum in San Francisco, and hopefully I can get you to sign my copy. So.
Absolutely.
Andrew, thank you so much for coming on, and maybe we'll get you on in the future. Talk some turtles, talk some new turtles news in the future.
That sounds great.
Great, thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
All right. What an awesome guy. Just want to say thanks again to Andrew for coming on to the show. And I also want to mention that if you are in the San Francisco area, actually Saturday, June 14th, that is this Saturday, if you're listening to this very soon, it's the book launch. If you're out there, head over to the Cartoon Art Museum. It's the big reception, book launch. They're going to have some special guests out there. They're going to have, turtle artists from the Mirage series. Bobby Curnow is going to be out there. Ciro Nielli, he's going to be out there. I mean, it sounds like an awesome event. So if you are a Turtles fan and you are in the San Francisco Bay area, get over to the Cartoon Art Museum. It's at 655 Mission Street, San Francisco, California, 94105. And it's Saturday, June 14th, from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And that's Pacific time. So, let's move on. Do not want to end the show right there. Want to share some feedback. Now, this isn't all the feedback. We do have some more, but I wanted to share some of it here, some of our mutated messages, because now some of it is some questions that I want to save for when we get Darby and Alex back on the show. But I do want to share some of this here. So we got a message from at SuperCurryMax on Twitter. And listen to this. So he sent us a photo of he tried to make some Ninja Turtle chocolates using a ice cube tray, a Ninja Turtles ice cube tray. They didn't come out quite quite so well, but he said he's a little disappointed. But hey, you know what? I can still tell it's supposed to be a Ninja Turtle, just not a very good looking Ninja Turtle. So, but hey, I'm sure it still tasted good. Hey, by the way, all these photos and links, everything will be in the show notes as always. Sylvie _ne N-E sent us this is great. So this is a little comic strip. It says so I'll just give you the rundown here. It's Splinter, and he's saying, "My sons, you must not let yourselves be seen by those on the surface. If they were to see you, they would have fear of you. You must remain obscured in the shadows." So then Leonardo says, and you can't see, this is off panel, says, "But why, Master Splinter? Why would the humans fear us? It just doesn't make sense." And then it goes to the third panel. "I don't see anything frightening about us." And of course, it's the new movie Turtles. So yeah, so that's pretty good. Skyrim Samurai at Skyrim Samurai, of course, a big contributor to our mailbag and on Twitter. He's definitely been vocal about the movies, and he says that his son watches the Turtles every day. He saw the trailer for the new movie and says, "I'm not watching that." Then he goes on to say, "If it is a movie for the kids, why would they not make it like the kids' cartoon that is super successful?" That's a good point. That is a good point. When we were younger, I could tell that there was a difference between the animated Turtles and the Turtles that were in the movie, but it was just different, and I didn't have a problem with that. I guess the big difference here is that people are are having a problem with this new movie, at least this style. So I mean, as always, we're keeping an open mind. We are going into it, with open minds and open hearts, and we are hoping for the best. So he did say one more thing. He sent us a picture. He says this is a poster from the first movie. I've never seen many of these. Had it since I was a kid, and it's this really cool poster. I've seen it before. As soon as he sent it, I was like, oh man, gosh, that's bringing back some memories there. It's a shot of the turtles, which is interesting because they have them. It's a painting, animated, drawing of the turtles, and they're like in an alley, and there's a bunch of like posters that are like ripped off of a brick wall behind them. So, very cool, very cool. Definitely remember that photo. Crooked Ninja Turtle at Crooked Ninja on Twitter says, "Reunited and it feels so good. Hashtag TMNT. Hashtag Turtles in Time." And it's an Instagram photo of him playing Turtles in Time on the Super Nintendo. So, yay! You know what? Awesome game. Awesome game. Still right at the top of the list. If not number one, then number two. So, speaking of video games, 50 Shades of Cray at Crikey It's Mikey on Twitter sent us just a photo, and it's his Nick Turtles Raph action figure playing PlayStation 4 with a giant, the controller is bigger than he is. So, it's cute. Rhonda Pattison at RLEEP. This is pretty cool. Says, proud new owner of this layout drawing for the cover of TMNT number 28, given to me by the awesome Kevin Eastman. Yes, I can confirm that is awesome. And lucky you. Awesome that you got that. I mean, it's the black and blue, the inks and everything. It just looks awesome. So congratulations. At TMNT 30th anniversary, I guess. So he sent us a photo. It says, Metalhead found a portal to a Krang prison and later saves the turtles by staying behind and self-destructs. Of course, that's the storyline from the Nick Turtles series, but he put up a photo of, it's really cool. I don't even know how to describe it. It's like an 80s like Art Deco kind of style. It's Metalhead, like the old school Metalhead fighting off a foot soldier from the animated series. So pretty solid. Giannis Axsmith, our boy at Raphael's_size, says, love my TMNT Twitter family so much. And hey, you know what? We love you too. And so this is cool. He also he sent another tweet. Says, it's here. I'm now a proud owner of an autographed Mikey action figure signed by Greg Sipes. Thank you so much, TMNT Master. So I think he got this through the through maybe the Turtles versus Foot or what. I'm not sure, but awesome. I mean, how cool is that? You get a Nick Turtles Mikey signed by the guy who does Mikey's voice. Excellent. And then this is the kicker. So I think Alex mentioned this on our last episode, but so Giannis sent this this other photo. It says, word of warning: don't go on eBay and select TMNT category everything else. You will get this. WTF. Or hashtag WTF, hashtag WTF, hashtag no. So let me describe this. This is it's in, I'm going to guess Japanese. I'm not entirely sure. But if my knowledge of Japanese culture is anywhere near correct, I'm guessing this is Japanese. So the only bit of it that's in English says TMNT 2K3 at DLD less than LD for adult only. Yeah. So and there is a photo here of, or a drawing on the cover of this DVD. I assume it's a DVD of a turtle and another turtle. And they're doing inappropriate things. So anyway, so that's out there, I guess. Jump on eBay and find. Hey, if you listen, this is to all the listeners. If you get one of these and watch it and provide us a review, we would be happy to share it on the show. So yeah, that's just, I don't know. That's a little too much for me. At Goose Manning 911 says, great work, guys. Love and appreciate all you do for the TMNT fans. And then he actually tweeted at another guy, Chef Boyar B, and says, check out these guys' podcasts. They always have good insight. So thanks, Goose. We appreciate it, man. Rashad Johnson at the Shadfather 87. Now I just gotta give a big shout out to him because thanks for all of the hashtag Follow Friday tweets. He's always on top of it and always includes us. So we appreciate you, Rashad. Definitely. And he says, is it just me or is the TMNT cartoon series just getting better and better? I think it's getting better and better. Ciro and his team over there, they do an outstanding job, and it's true. Each episode keeps getting better and better, and developing the turtle lore in that universe more and more. I mean, this last episode with Tiger Claw coming back, and I mean they're doing it with the whole Karai and Splinter story. I mean, they're going there, and it's awesome. So definitely, incorporating that serialized story framework, which I'm a big fan of. So, see, we got at the Sewer Den. Says the best TMNT crew on Twitter right here. So, Sewer Den, you're awesome, bro. Lastly, we have this is actually from Facebook. Says, hello. First of all, sorry for any English mistakes. This is, I'm Bruno Leal from Brazil. So, bam, we are in Brazil. Woo! All right. He's a big fan of the TMNT. Recently discovered our podcast, and he's so happy for it. We're happy you're listening, Bruno. Appreciate you. A podcast totally dedicated for this universe. Yes, we are. We are a even though Darby and Alex like to go off the deep end a couple times. I try to edit them out if they go too crazy. But he says in the end of 2013, he made a fan animation called One More Day. He says, check it out. He gave us the YouTube link, Cowabunga Bruno. So, thanks, man. I watched it. It's great. It's a great little fan film. Just a little animated piece, and it's a nice little watch. It's good job, very good job. So we will include that link in the show notes. So that is all of the mutated messages for this episode, but we will be having more in our next episode. We've got a couple more topics that already lined up as well that we want to talk about, but of course the biggest news for the next episode will be our coverage of the big event happening here in Orlando with the original voice actors of the original Turtles animated series. If you can't tell, I'm pretty pumped about it. I mean, Nickelodeon, I'll say already, are taking amazing care of us. There's several different media outlets here covering the event, and we are just so happy that they accepted a Turtles centric show into the fold as well, because it's mostly the media outlets here are a variety of topics. It's travel, just in the Orlando area, that kind of stuff. But the fact that they accepted a hardcore turtle centric media outlet is very appreciated. So that's going to do it for this episode. We are going to have a song of the show though, and I will mention this right quick. So it's a this is pretty cool. So I will say this. I got this from TMNT Party Van. About like 2 months ago. This is you may have seen this already. This is Postmodern Jukebox at Scott Bradley. He crushes an R&B slow jam cover of the TMNT theme song, and that's what we're going to be playing for you. So, and we'll also include the link so you can watch the video as well. So as always, check us out on our official website, TurtlePowerPodcast.com. Follow us on Twitter at TMNT Podcast. Hey, I will say also, follow us on Twitter closely if you want. Turn on the little notification things because turn it on always, because for us, we don't go crazy with the tweets. If we tweet out something, it means it's important Turtles news. So, and especially for tomorrow, we're going to be doing a lot of photos, video, and everything. So be tweeting out throughout the day. You can follow me at FigDonPat. Follow Alex at ARodriguez2005. Follow Darby at DarbyTPatton. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/TurtlePowerPodcast. Subscribe on YouTube, youtube.com/TurtlePowerPodcast. Still putting up shows. Just put up old episode 16 up there. Episode 17 will be going up soon as well. Almost there. Almost have all of our back catalog up on YouTube as well. Share share your feedback with us via good old-fashioned email, TurtlePowerPodcast@gmail.com. And, of course, we always appreciate if you could subscribe and rate us on iTunes. That is, we're going to be jumping in there and checking to see our subscriptions and new ratings here soon. So we'll be sharing those on the next episode as well. So, for me, Ryan Hurley, your host for this solo edition of the Turtle Power Podcast, I say to you, thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next time.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. 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 Heroes in the half shell. Turtle power. Beware, all your zeros about to catch hell. You're no match for these heroes in the half shell. Turtle power, but they're not your pets. Coming straight from the sewer like their dots effects. Whether a petty thief or alien, they'll get you for the hard way and trained in ninjutsu. Doing wrong, it's on. They're quick to stop a crook's plan. Daily operations simply stomp out the Foot Clan. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Heroes in the half shell. Turtle power. They're the world's most fearsome fighting team. They're heroes in a half shell, and they're green. When the evil shredder attacks, these turtle boys don't cut them no slack. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Heroes in a half shell. Turtle power. Splinter's the teacher, Leonardo's the leader, Michelangelo loves TV, fun, and pizza, Donatello's the brains, Raphael's the livest, April O'Neil in that jumpsuit, she's the flyest. I never end up going head to head with Shredder, but no fear, it's like whatever, I guess he should've known better. From the underground, something of an eighth wonder, TMNT, the dream team, cowabunga. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Heroes in a half shell. Turtle power. Splinter taught them to be ninja teens. Leonardo leads, Donatello does machine. Oh, Raphael is cool but rude. Michelangelo is a party dude. Come on, come on, vibe it out. We're kicking it. Heroes in the half shell. Oh, I said Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Heroes in a half shell. Turtle power. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Heroes in a half shell. Turtle power. Heroes in a half shell. Turtle power.